Coming into the Zoom room, and welcome to people in the room as well. Hello, everybody. And good morning. Hope you had a nice weekend. Let's go ahead and come to an upright seated posture. We'll get going with class today. And take just a few breaths right here, paying attention to the rise and fall of the breath. And particularly on exhale, just notice gravity and the support of the earth underneath us, sort of holding us up. And then with the inhales, you can grow a little taller as the crown rises towards the sky. As we start class, just let go of whatever was going on this morning or yesterday, anything that's running around your mind. Just come into the room or the space that you're in. And also can set aside plans for the rest of the day. We'll be here for another 58 minutes, and let's just be here together, focusing on our practice. And we'll start class with one Om chanted together. And of course, stay silent if you'd rather. No problem at all. Otherwise, after our next inhale, we'll do one Om. Inhaling. Om. All right, thank you. I love that. That 2/3 of the Om is out loud and the last third is silent, right? So inside. Let's come to our backs and we'll start kind of just warming up, moving our spine and hips a bit here. So let's just come all the way down to the floor. And before we even move, take a breath here. Yeah, just soften, let gravity do its work. Check in with yourself, maybe hips or back or shoulders, see where the tension might be residing this morning, and allow that to soften and evaporate. We'll begin with some gentle motions of the spine. So let's take our arms into a goalpost shape. So elbows come out from shoulders, backs of hands to floor, feet on floor, knees bent towards ceiling. And we will inhale, drawing an arch in the low back away from the floor, tipping the pelvis and tucking chin towards chest. Exhale, back comes down, chin rocks away, and maybe tailbone kind of scoops a bit away from the floor. And then just back and forth, nice and slow. Inhale, drawing the arch in the low back, tipping chin towards chest. And exhale, back comes down, chin rocks away, and back and forth we go. Just a handful of breaths here, going at your own pace, following your own breath. It's the repetition that really works the magic here. There's no need to force or push too hard. Just cycle through this cranial sacral rocking action. As you develop a rhythm, maybe start feeling a little more expansion through the breath in the chest and the shoulders. Just a couple more, and then we'll add a variation to this. And go ahead and cease the movement when you're ready. And let's just interlace our hands behind our head. This time cradling cranium, elbows wide to the floor, and chin rocks away from chest in this position. So you may have to adjust your hands to allow that. When we inhale, similarly, we will arch the low back, but this time chin rocks away and we push elbows downward into the floor. Then we exhale, back comes down. We lift head and shoulders off the floor just a little bit, and bring elbows towards one another. And we inhale, we go back, elbows wide, back arches, chin rocks away. Exhale, back comes down. We round a bit, elbows towards one another as head comes off the floor. And it's not really an ab crunch kind of workout here, right? Thinking more about spinal mobility as we just gently go back and forth. And this flapping of the elbows, kind of like wings, just opens the chest, pumps through the upper body, the various systems of our body that need movement to move fluid back and forth a few more times. And again, you're just moving at the speed of your breath. And we'll call this the last one. Next time we exhale, we round up, elbows come towards one another, and we wind up back down on our back. You can let your hands go. Let's take them back to a goalpost shape. All right, and just rest here for 2 breaths and feel any sensation that might be new, anything that's going on right now. Next, we'll do a movement that you may not be familiar with. So let's go ahead and extend right leg on the floor. Left foot stays down, left knee stays bent, arms are in goalpost shape, and we're on our back. This one, it's an unwinding action. So when we inhale, we're going to tip that left knee over to the right. We're basically rolling onto right outer hip, right outer leg. Shoulders stay put for the moment. Just kind of maybe gently press left knee away from belly. And exhale, we just roll right back to that starting shape on our back. One leg extended, one knee bent. Here we go again. Inhale, swinging left knee over to the right. Roll to right outer hip, right outer leg. Left hip's off the floor. Left knee pointing to the right. Exhale and return. So just do a couple more, about 3 more like that. And then we'll add upper body movement to the pose or to the action. We inhale and we swing and we twist. We exhale and we return, letting the motion completely stop before starting again. Call the next one our last before we add on to it. Now we'll add upper body. So the lower body does more or less the same thing. We inhale, knee swings, roll to that right outer hip. We start a side bend, left hand, left elbow comes towards left heel, right hand, right elbow towards the wall behind or the back of the room. So there's a swinging of the upper body here. And then we exhale, come all the way back to that starting shape. All right, just a few like that. Inhale, everything swings into motion. Knee swings to the right, left elbow towards left heel, right elbow towards the back of the room. And you could keep your arms in that goalpost, or you could extend them and make a bigger movement. Whatever feels right for you this morning is great. Just back and forth a couple more times. Maybe pushing the left knee away from the belly even a little more vigorously at this point as we warm up. We'll do one last one, and then we're going to switch it over to the other side. And returning back to neutral, let's just extend both legs. One more chance to feel any sensation that's new, whatever may be rising. And then let's take the right foot to the floor, right knee bends towards ceiling. Arms still in goalpost, and we'll start with the lower body again, maybe about 6 cycles here. So we'll inhale, swinging right knee to the left, roll to left outer hip. Trying to keep both shoulder blades on the floor if you can. And then we exhale, return, release. And start anew with the next inhale, swinging into movement. Maybe gently pressing right knee away from upper body. Exhale and return. And just follow your breath, your speed. Not a great advantage to going fast in this initial work. Let you be the judge. And we'll call this next one the last before we add upper body movement. So last swing of the lower body with the inhale, exhale, we return, and then we'll do the same upper body movement we did before. So inhale, knee swings, roll to left outer hip, and upper body slides in an arc, right elbow towards right heel, left elbow towards back of the room, and exhale and return. Let's just do 4 like that. So we inhale, lots of movement, lots of work in the back. Exhale and return. Inhale, breathing. I always feel this is almost like a sail getting filled with wind from behind. Inhale and exhale as the wind ceases, come back to neutral. We'll call this our last one. Inhale, we swing, pressing right knee away from upper body perhaps, and exhale, returning to neutral. And let's just extend both legs. And that's the end of what we call the satya practice. It's just a neurological kind of wake up in the morning. And we'll move to more of an asana practice now. So let's go ahead and roll to our bellies. I'm going to do a cobra sequence here. So starting off just all the way down on the floor, forehead can rest on floor, tops of feet down. Just for the very first one, let's then tuck our toes. So toe tips down, heels up, pressing down firmly into the toes. Knees will rise off the floor. And then we'll just rise up onto forearms and elbows, just for this first back bend here. Pulling elbows towards hips as though we're going to slide through our arms. Just a baby cobra for starters. Chin stays slightly tucked. We'll need to strain our throat. Hold for, let's do about 3 more breaths. Pulling elbows towards hips, driving down into toe tips. And as you're ready, we'll just release that baby cobra, come all the way back down. Tops of feet to floor for the rest of them here. And we'll do a wide-armed cobra next. So we're going to go with our hands off our mats, fingertips down, palms up, right? Forehead down, tops of feet down. Begin engaging the legs, pointing toes like tips of pencils to the back of the room, pressing into the top of the feet. Then let's just bring our shoulder tops towards our ears, like we're hunching towards our ears, and then shoulders rise towards ceiling. As we start to lift and rise into this wide-armed cobra, no need to come up too high for starters. Keep the engagement through the feet, shoulder blades coming towards one another, and then shoulder tops soften away from ears. Hold for 3 breaths. When you're ready, release all the way down. We'll do one more wide-armed version, so don't go too far here, but definitely let the work go. Setting up ready for the next one. Starting with the feet, tops of feet, grounding down all those toenails in touch with the floor. Legs straight and strong. Shoulder tops climb towards ears first and then lift towards ceiling. And we start to lift and rise into cobra. And up, up, up. And the wide arm version will decide how high you lift. Let the shoulder blades slide down the back. Firmly root through the hips and pelvis. 3 breaths. Maybe draw navel towards spine, get a little more core engagement. And then exhale, release. And we'll go towards more of a classic cobra position. So palms to the mat, right alongside ribs, forehead rests down. Again, let the work go. If there's some tension clinging in the back, just let that dissipate for a breath or two. And here we go. Strong legs, big toes pointing back, elbows in towards side body, shoulders towards ears, then rolling up towards sky. And start to rise into cobra. And again, just come up as much as right for you today. Elbows in, pulling hands towards hips, shoulder blades coming towards one another and maybe down the spine. 3 breaths right here. Just see, where's your boundary? Where's there some resistance maybe? Just note that. Exhale, release. We have one more to do. Lots of back work today. Release the tension, let the muscles soften. And then when you're ready, we'll go again. Legs straight and strong, elbows in. Inhale, we lift, we rise, shoulders towards ceiling. Coming up. Isometrically draw hands towards hips, keeping elbows in. Chin still somewhat tucked. And 3 breaths right here. Of course, you come out of any pose when you're ready. And exhale, release. All the way back down. Well, let's just do a couple of locust poses. So we'll take our arms alongside body, palms down, forehead resting down, feet rooting strongly, maybe bringing legs a bit closer together. They don't have to touch, but they shouldn't be too wide for this one. And starting off, here we go. Inhale, just keeping palms on the floor at first. We lift shoulders and chest away from floor, gazing down at our mat. And when you're ready, arms come off the floor, extending back behind towards heels. And see if you can get feet to come off floor, maybe shins and thighs come off the floor. 2 more breaths. Exhale, release. One more of these fairly strong back arc, kind of back strengthening work. So when you're ready, we'll inhale back to locust. We're going to bring shoulders off the floor, chest rises, heart rises, hands rise and reach back towards the back of the room as feet rise, toes pointing straight back, shoulder blades together. Maybe bringing legs closer to one another. 2 more breaths. Exhale and release. You can bring your hands under your forehead if you like, and just let the back muscles settle down and move past what they've just been through. And then let's just press with our hands. Let's come on up to a kneeling position. All right, we want our strap at this point. So if you have a strap nearby, go ahead and grab it. All right. Even just take a breath. First time off the floor in 20 minutes. So kind of find your midline. And then we're going to go into like an Anjaneyasana type shape. So let's take our left foot forward and right knee stays down. And again, if the floor gets hard, you can just pat it or whatever you need to do there. Because I know I find the floors in here challenging. So, okay, so we're going to take a strap. Actually, let's go in front of our body. So we'll just find the Anjaneyasana leg shape here. And then we'll take a strap, nice and wide, grip on the strap, okay? Do some shoulder flossing. So inhale, we go up and over. Exhale, we come back. And maybe you don't come all the way down here, right? Maybe it's up here today. Wherever you are is great. Inhaling back up, exhaling over. And we'll just go back and forth, just kind of moving in and out. I always like connecting the breath and movement, but don't fret if it gets turned around a bit. Generally, we inhale up, we exhale down. Few more rounds. If it's easy or you're finding it very approachable, maybe just move your hands closer together. Put a bigger demand on the shoulders, so be careful of that. But if it's right for you, that's what we do. Couple more rounds. And let's just come into this position with the arms behind, pulling straps apart. Strongly open across front of chest. Now, pressing down into that left foot, front foot, almost like you're going to push it down and then drag it back towards your hip. Not really going to move. Similarly, we'll drag that right knee forward. Just come a little bit more into a lunge. Doesn't have to be far. Feel some engagement through the quads. And hold for 3 breaths. And when you're ready, we soften, start to come on out. Just let the strap go slack. And just get ready. We'll trade over to the other side. So left knee down, right foot forward. Now we did that shoulder floss, and we don't have to do that again on this side, but the strap behind we will do. So go ahead and take a strap back behind you, and we're going to keep it low, so you may want a more narrow grip. You be the judge. So, right, palms facing towards our back body. Here we are. Now, firm grip on the strap, pulling strap apart from left to right. Open across the chest, let shoulder blades slide together. And the lower body action, pushing firmly into that right foot. And imagine like you're either dragging that right foot forward or like inching yourself forward towards your foot. Left knee, similarly, pulling forward. Then we lunge just a bit. Coming forward, both hips moving together, left hip, right hip, staying square, which will limit the depth of the lunge. And still strap strongly engaged. Maybe gazing more straight towards a horizon if there's a horizon in front of you. Couple breaths right here. And coming out as you're ready, we can just set the strap aside, moving towards a little bit of breath and movement kind of work. So let's come down to a puppy pose for starters. Move my bell out of the way now. So puppy pose, so hips over knees, right? Tips of toes down, hands going forward. Sink on down right in here. Get a nice long elongation of the back. Take a breath. Bring this into movement momentarily, but just kind of milk the stretch for a second or two. So the movement's going to be this. We'll go from puppy pose. On an inhale, we're going to roll forward towards plank, and you can keep your knees down or classic plank. Exhale, we lower to the floor. Inhale, tops of feet down, and cobra. And we just kind of go cycling through, exhale to the floor. We'll do a few rounds here. So we inhale back to puppy. Hold through that exhale. Inhale back to plank. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, cobra. Exhale out. Inhale, puppy. Hold through an exhale. Inhale, plank. Exhale, floor. Cobra. Puppy. Do one more time through here. Puppy, right? Inhale, plank. Exhale to the floor. Last cobra. Now let's just press back to puppy. How about? Let's do a side bend here. So when you're in puppy, let's just walk our hands over to the left. Really reach through that right hand from right fingertips all the way down to right hip. Left elbow can bend like a kickstand. Big side body opening. Breathe into the side body. Then we'll move back to the midline, find that initial puppy shape, and walk over to the right. Similarly, left arm stretching long, all the way out from that left hip, through the tips of your fingers. One more big breath into the side body. And coming back towards midline, we're going to go towards down dog at this point. So setting hands up for that. Maybe rotate hands slightly outward. As you're ready, knees lift off the floor. And let's keep our knees really deeply bent as we slowly press back towards the back of the room and rise. Hips towards ceiling. First down dog of the morning. You can straighten out, kind of pedal the legs, straighten one, bend the other, then switch back and forth a few times. And then just come to some stillness, maybe stepping feet wide if you like, a little space there for yourself. And pushing hips back towards the back of the room. Legs certainly don't have to be straight. It's kind of a bow on top as we move towards the final pose. And when you're ready, let's walk feet towards hands. Coming into a halfway forward fold. Hands on shins, back parallel to the earth. Exhale, fold deeply forward. When we inhale, let's just soften our knees. We can sweep our arms wide as we come all the way up to standing. And draw hands to heart. And take a few breaths. Again, equilibrium and balance as we have heart or head over heart. Come to standing. If anybody wants a fan or anything turned on, I can kick it on. Just let me know if you start to get warmed up. Okay, so we'll do some sun salutations. We'll do two versions. The first one will have the knee down version, like an Anjaneyasana. And then if you want something more oomph, we can go to the knee up version. So total of 4 times through, and you can be the judge, okay? So here we go. Let's starting here. As you're ready, inhale, sweeping arms wide and up. Exhale, folding forward, maybe like a swan dive. Hands to floor. Inhale, halfway fold. Exhale, hands to floor. Step right foot back. Let's drop right knee to the floor. We inhale, we swing up into that low lunge. This time, arms up alongside ears. Exhale, hands to floor. Stepping into plank pose. Press through the inhale. And lower to the belly on the exhale. Inhale, cobra. Could also replace cobra with up dog if that's your practice. Exhale back to the floor. And inhale, we'll press ourselves to downward facing dog. Just 2 breaths right here in down dog. Shifting weight towards left foot. Let's inhale, extend right leg back behind. Exhale, stepping right foot forward to hands. Left knee comes down. Inhale, Anjaneyasana, other side. Exhale, hands to mat, stepping feet together. Inhale, halfway folding. Exhale, deep fold. Inhale, go ahead, soften knees if you like as we rise all the way up. And draw hands to heart. We'll do another similar one, and then we'll switch it up a tiny bit for 2 more. So when you're ready, here we go. Inhale. Up we go. Exhale and fold. Inhale to the halfway fold. Exhale, hands to mat. Let's step left foot back this time. Left knee comes down. Inhale, we swing up, arms by ears, perhaps lunge forward, Anjaneyasana. Exhaling hands to mat as we step to plank. And firmly push the floor away through your inhale. And exhale, lower. Come down for cobra or up dog. You be the judge. And finding our way out of the back bend and back to downward facing dog. Whatever fashion is best for you, whether that's through puppy or table or pressing right up into the pose. One more breath. Shifting weight towards right foot. Let's extend left leg behind. Exhale, left foot forward, right knee down. Inhale, we swing up. Lunge. Exhale, hands to mat, feet together. Halfway fold, deep fold. Softening knees, and we'll swing arms wide as we rise up. And just feel like a gathering between your hands as they come together and draw down to heart. And just a couple breaths here. Sense and feel whatever's going on. The next two will be similar, but with a high lunge versus the low lunge, which adds to the vigor of it. You can choose to do so or keep doing what you were doing, or just bail out, go to child's pose anytime you want, of course. Okay, here we go. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway fold. Exhale, hands can still come to the mat. Let's step right foot back. This time, right knee stays up, heel stays off the floor. Make sure you got a decent balance. As we inhale, we rise up. Arms alongside ears. Exhale, hands to mat, stepping to plank. Let's hold this plank for an extra breath. And as you're ready, lowering down for an up dog or a cobra. Back bend as you wish, keeping elbows in, and then finding our way back to downward facing dog. Breath or two here. When you're ready, weight shifts to left foot, right foot extending back behind, three-legged dog. Exhale, step right foot forward, coming up to a high lunge on the other side. Bringing some more balance into the actions today. Exhale, hands to floor, feet together, halfway fold, and deep Uttanasana. Inhale, we soften our knees as we rise up to standing. There's that gathering sense again. And bring hands to heart. 2 breaths. How's your heartbeat and your breathing? What's happening now? Last time through the sequence. Here we go. Inhale, sweeping up. And exhale, we fold. Halfway fold. Exhale, hands down. Let's step left foot back this time. Going to a high lunge if that works for you. Heel stays off the floor. Arms up alongside ears. A little bit of a back bend. Exhale, hands to mat. Try not to topple. Hold for 2 breaths through the plank. And lower when you're ready. All the way down. Cobra or up dog, your choice. Elbows in. Maybe pull hands towards hips. Exhaling out of the pose and finding our way to downward facing dog. Two breaths here. And weight to right foot, left leg extends back behind. Exhale, left foot forward. Inhale, rising up. Sort of a variation of warrior one. Exhale, hands to mat, feet together. Halfway fold. Uttanasana, deep forward bend. Soften knees. Let's inhale, sweep and rise all the way up. And draw hands to heart. And a few breaths. Right here. That's our vinyasa bit today. So I'll move more towards like an apex pose. Go ahead and settle and calm. And hands can come down by side. Let's go ahead and take a block and a strap for this one. Being so close to the equinox, we'll do a little balance work here. So just take a block and a strap. I want to step back so the camera doesn't lose track of me. And I'm going to take a block up into inner thighs on the narrow setting. Okay. And even just holding your strap, squeeze that block and just feel the strength of that. The legs, everything from like hips down just turns into like solid working strength. Okay. And I'll step this way a little bit here. So next thing we're going to do, we're just going to turn this into a bit of a standing back bend. So we're going to keep that strong legs, right? It'll give us a really firm base to work from. Taking the strap back behind, similar to we did earlier. And so palms facing in towards back body, in towards hips. Just grip your strap. If that's like an issue for anybody's grip, you can always just kind of wrap. The strap makes it a little less like intense on the grip, okay? So we're coming into the shape. And for this one, let's go work towards straight arms with the hands kind of pushing down towards the earth, more so than say trying to lift the arms, right? More so this time we're going down towards the ground, shoulders coming down, pulling strap apart left to right, squeezing block. And we just turn into a bit of a back bend. So heart starts to lift towards the ceiling. And the hands maybe move 2 millimeters closer to the earth. Shoulder blades coming together. Find your sweet spot. No need to go for broke on this one. Just find a place where you're feeling the work, but you could stay for a few more breaths. And with the expansion on the inhale, just let the muscles of the rib basket expand and spread and soften on the exhale. 2 more breaths like that. Deep inhales. Exhale, everything softens a bit. Maybe a little more back bend. You be the judge. And soften, release. Set the strap down. You can set the block down as well. I'm just going to do a tree pose just as a balance practice. So set yourself up on a spot. You may step off the mat if you like. And come to Tadasana. Still want those strong legs, right? Same strength in that right leg. Shifting weight to the right. Let's just take our left foot off the floor. Maybe you're just even here today. Maybe the toe stays down. Maybe we bring the left foot up to the calf. The knee swings wide. If you go higher than that, you definitely want to come above the knee. In the tree pose, left knee swings wide. Gazing gently at the floor. And choose your arm position. Maybe arms up. Maybe arms and hands in prayer. Few more breaths. And coming out as you're ready. I'm always a little more nervous when I'm on camera. Here we go. Standing, assessing, getting ready for the other side, shifting weight into left leg, strong left leg, left hip wants to come in. And when you're ready, taking right foot off the floor, just find your pose, which may be totally different from one side to the other. Find your tree. There we go. Gazing at the floor. Arms going where you like. Maybe crown rising towards the sky. And come out when you're ready. Two or three breaths into Tadasana. And again, whatever was just going on can now fall away. Come back to some clarity and stability. We'll move to our final back bend sequence of the day. So we're going to go to Ustrasana. So let's come on down to our knees, camel pose. We're not going to go for the deepest camel today. So we're going to just kind of play with some actions here. So knees down. Let's have maybe tops of feet down if that feels okay for you. You can always keep toes tucked if you'd rather, but you'd be the judge. This offers a different stability. Okay, hands can start on hips. Take a breath here. And we're opening across the collarbones, right? So shoulder blades come together, broad across the top of the front chest, moving all this lymphatic fluid that's so kind of collected through our shoulders and chest. Move that around, open the chest. And then maybe let's take our hands, can kind of scooch around. So fingertips going down the glutes, thumbs reach around towards hip points. And over here is the shoulder blades together. Maybe elbows start to move towards one another. And then keeping chin tucked all the way through the pose this time, or lightly tucked. Again, just kind of engage, pressing downward onto the glutes. Find that back bend similar to cobra, similar to locust. Heart is rising almost like straight towards the sky. Elbows closer together, coming towards one another. Maybe sort of squeezing in the legs, drawing knees towards one another. Isometrically, just strengthen there, pressing down into the glutes. Heart rises. About 3 breaths here. See if you can find that sense of rising up out of the pelvis. We're not compressing, we're lifting up out of the pelvis and diving back. And start to come on more upright, coming out of the pose. Take a quick child's pose, big toes can touch. And we'll just round over our legs here. Child's pose, counter pose for Ustrasana. We'll do one more camel pose. But for the moment, let the muscles shift, the joints settle. And if you're ready, or when you're ready, let's come back upright more. Back up onto knees. And if you want to just explore and play, maybe you do the opposite with your feet from what we did last time. So if your tops were down, maybe you go to toes down, only if you want to explore it a bit. Hands come back to that position, fingertips moving down, glutes, thumbs around side hips. And take a breath, grow tall here, crown rising. Then broad across the collarbones. Again, feel that lift up and out. It's like a slinky, right? Kind of rising up and then folding over. Pressing down into the glutes. Heart rising. Chin stays gently tucked. And if you like, you can explore moving hands a little further down towards tops of thighs. You don't have it's just a different grip. It allows you to bend a little deeper, perhaps. Again, strong legs. Feel it like you're dragging your knees towards one another. Find your pose for 3 more breaths and just live there. And as you're ready, we gently really tuck chin first as we sort of roll ourselves back up to vertical and back down to child's pose. Counter bend the spine, forward bend, and you choose maybe hands walk forward, or if you really like the curvy, curly nature of the pose, hands can go back behind, cupping heels. A few more breaths, just really breathing into the back body. And then we'll rise up and coming back down to the floor. We got a few poses on the mat before we go towards Shavasana. So let's just come all the way down to our backs. Now, a lot of times early in class, we'll do bridge, right? Now we've done all this shoulder opening and back bending. Let's see how a bridge feels at this point, which is right, it's basically camel pose on our back. It's practically the same shape exactly. So feet to floor. And since this is more of a back class, you can have your feet a little wider than usual if you like. You might feel a little more spacious in the back body if we do so. You be the judge. Let's take our hands and just grip the rails of the yoga mat. Now, if you know you can clasp hands and bridge, you're certainly free to do so, but only if it really comes pretty naturally for you. Otherwise, gripping the mat's the great choice. So here we are, getting ready for bridge. We're just going to notice the shoulders and the back shape more than working really hard on this one. So when you're ready, we'll inhale, lifting hips towards sky. Find your first sweet spot. Gripping the rails of the mat, pull them apart. Let's tip our weight to the right shoulder, and the left shoulder can come off the floor and slide in towards spine, right? Tip towards the left shoulder, right shoulder comes up and then slides in more towards back. And then landing back equally, left side, right side, pulling that mat apart or clasping hands if that's your practice. Couple breaths here. Rooting through the feet. And see about that sensation there, pulling your mat, almost like you're going to pull your mat out from under your feet, right? And see if that moves the back bend further up the spine to the mid back, right behind the heart. Opening across the front of the hips. And as you're ready, soften, very gently release back down to the floor, let go of the grip. Settle down to the floor, release the work. We're going to do one more. Just release enough so that each time we do the pose, it's kind of coming from a fresh place. And so when we're ready, gripping the mat, if that's your choice, feet placed best for you. And as we're ready, inhale, hips starting to lift and rise again. We can do that shoulder shuffle, tip towards the right, and the left shoulder comes in, tip to the left, the right shoulder comes in. Either clasping hands under back or pulling your mat apart from left to right. Another way to look at the movement of the back is pushing down into the feet, and then it's almost like you're sliding yourself backwards off the mat. Maybe that's a better visualization to move the curve further up the spine. So the mid back is bending too, not just the neck and the lumbar doing all the work. Open across the front of the hips. 2 more breaths, pulling your mat apart. And releasing when you're ready. Back down to the floor. Hands release. A little apanasana. Let's go ahead and bring both knees in towards chest and just kind of round the back. If you like to rock from left to right, just kind of palpate and massage those muscles that have worked quite hard for the past 45 or so, 50 minutes. If you're doing circles on your back, just reverse them. And let's go into Sukhasana from here, or supine, Supta Sukhasana, right? So we're staying on our back, and we just take our feet up, crossing at the shins, right? Taking hands to outer edge of feet, if that's attainable. You can also just kind of get ankles, maybe even backs of thighs might be right for some folks. And we'll push up, feet up towards the ceiling, arms outside knees. Stretch that way. First, exhale, we'll draw down. So pumping an accordion, squeeze down, feet down towards knees, knees towards chest. Inhale, extending one more time on this side. Exhale, draw down. And stay for just about 2 breaths. Release the back. The back doesn't need to work here. And soften the pose, and we're just going to switch the cross of the legs, right? So whatever leg's in front just shifts around to the back, making the whole pose feel a little funny perhaps. And then taking hold of feet once again. Inhale, extending towards the ceiling first. Exhale, draw down, 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 down. Inhale, extend. Exhale, drawing down. And hold for 2 or 3 breaths. Soften the back. Soften the hips. Breathing in the constrained shape. And release as ready. Feet to floor. Let's have our feet wide like the yoga mat. Knees over feet. Arms can just be down by side. Do a double knee staggered twist. So when you're ready, we'll just tip both knees over, kind of a staggered fashion to the left. Right hip will rise off the floor if you go to the left. Take a breath there, and then we'll go up and over. Let's go back and forth, actually. Let's not worry about the breath so much here. Just kind of slowly up and over from one side to the other. And coming back up, knees upright. Now let's take a little deeper version of this double knee twist. Arms can be out to the side. And let's just go ahead and tip our knees. How about to the right this time? So both knees going to the right. Left hip comes up off the floor, almost certainly. And then if you want to take it a little deeper, let's take that right foot off the floor and just rest it on the left knee, right? So it's going to give a little downward pressure onto that left leg. Make sure that's okay for you. But if it is, go ahead, just get a little downward pressure. Left knee is moving closer to the ground. Be here for 3 breaths. And we'll start to come on out of there. Both feet back on the floor. And tip back up to the upright shape. Where am I on that here? Knees up. And then we'll go to the other side. Knees tip to the left. And if this feels great, just stay here. Don't worry about all the rest of the business. But if you think it'll be all right, you can take that left foot and just rest left ankle outside right knee, the top of right thigh, or I guess bottom of right thigh, sorry. Settle down right here. Get a nice stretch. Just a couple more breaths. And taking that left foot back to the floor, coming back, knees up, moving towards Shavasana. So let's extend one leg and then extend the other. We don't have bolsters here in this studio. So if you like to prop your legs, you could choose to put a block maybe under your kind of hamstrings, lower hamstrings or knees. If you like that, it might be nice on a day after so much back bending. Either way, we're coming towards Shavasana, legs extended, arms down by side. Palms up or palms down, whatever's best for your shoulders. Let's take one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. Just 3 or 4 breaths, kind of tuning into the tidal rhythm, the rise and fall. Maybe sensing the heartbeat or activity in the abdomen. Maybe feeling some warmth building between hands and body. And then just releasing hands. Off we go into Shavasana. Arms extend, legs extend. Deep relaxation, but still hanging on to that mental clarity I hope you're feeling. And I'll ring the bell 3 times when it's time to rise from Shavasana. And beginning to move with lots of care, perhaps rolling to your side body. Taking a few breaths while lying on the side. Gently pressing up towards a seated pose when you're ready. Hands resting comfortably. Note the support of our seat and the connection, rooted connection from our sits bones into the ground. Inhale, we rise, crown tall. Maybe have your tongue in Shavasana. Just let it lie flat on the floor of the mouth. Next inhale, let's draw palms together. Hands come back to heart. Exhale, just a bow of gratitude for anything you're grateful for. Inhale, rising back up. And thank you for practicing this morning.